Hey everybody, BeyondDrewTV here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to our second episode of Rockridge County. We are starting over here in our small town of Harvard where, oh my gosh, we have some exciting news. A building's on fire. And it's not just any building. Oh my gosh, it's actually our signature building, the one-stop station. Don't think I mentioned this in the first one, but yeah, I used the one-stop station over here on the corner of our big intersection right here. And yeah, now it's on fire, so that's always great. Oh, and the fire is spread to another commercial building. Oh, but here's our fire truck. So let's, hey, you know what? This is kind of fun. Let's go ahead and do this. I kind of like doing this every once in a while. You slow it down a little bit and just kind of take a second and follow some services going around saving our city, right? So anyways, yeah, welcome back to apparently a very exciting episode of Rockridge County where we have all the things going on. Yeah, so today, after our fire is done being put out, we are going to be focusing on everything farms. I think I kind of mentioned it in the previous episode, but yeah, with this big Midwestern county, a big thing that I want to get across is all of the farmland that you see surrounding all of these farm communities and even the big cities and everything. Once you kind of get outside of big cities like Chicago and Milwaukee and Minneapolis and stuff, pretty much all you see is just farmland for hundreds and hundreds of miles as far as the eye can see. So definitely want to get that. Okay, we got one building out extinguished there. Let's get the next one there. But anyways, yeah, I want to get that across today. Go ahead and build a bunch of farmland, acres and acres and acres, and also get a few more, maybe 2 or 3 more small farming communities in there as well. So that is the big focus today. But before we get into that, let's kind of do a checkup on this. Oh, rip, we lost. Looks like at least one citizen from that fire there, so that is unfortunate. But before we do that, let's go ahead and we're gonna kind of check in on Harvard and Chemung and Capron, all those fun city names that we have and everything like that. Kind of check up on the city in real time. And then I figure for the farms, we'll go ahead and do a time lapse of that one because that's going to be a lot of the same little bit going on there for a long time because we are going to be, like I said, covering the vast majority of the area surrounding these communities and even then some. So yeah, I really want to get across just how vast these farmlands really are. So but like I said, there's a few things I want to check on. First one being, I noticed this right away. I want to get rid of this road. We're going to redo this street real quick. Sorry, everyone waiting at the stoplight there. Your day has just been cut short. Or you have an all-terrain vehicle, hopefully, and you can go ahead and drive on the ground. But yeah, that was kind of all out of wackadoo there, out of sorts. There we go. Get that straight. That's so much better. And speaking of that, oh, this is a fine little mess we have created there. Speaking of the roads, let's actually go back into our road tool. And I have noticed that, we'll go over to traffic lights. So we have a traffic light here. That is okay with me. This is a busy area of town. This is a main thoroughfare into downtown Harvard, the commercial and industry area, and going off this way, this is a big thoroughfare through kind of the newer quote-unquote commercial strip of town. So right here, stoplight, A-okay to me. However, as we come down this way, and I think it's just the asymmetrical roads and like 4-lane roads that start to pop these stoplights up everywhere. Not a big fan of that off the residential area. So we're going to start to take away, let's follow these roads here. Yep, let's take that one away as well. Definitely that one away as well. Don't need that because there is nothing there. And same thing, there is nothing there as well except for a little park that leads down to our eventual college. I don't really like the placement of that college. That's just kind of there because we needed it for the city to keep progressing. But so anyways, yeah, I wanted to get rid of a lot of those stoplights going down some of our main strip here, our main road, because again, don't really need it too much, especially around the residential area. So, and if we come down this way, there's a few more, I believe, stop lights. Actually, no, there's not. So that is pretty okay. Yeah, like here, that's fine. Cool. So that is all good there. Something else I want to work on is this area right here, this big patch of trees right across from the main employer, Switch on. Excuse me. Right across from there, we don't have any parking. So you start to see that all of the people that work here, for the most part, are parking on our residential streets, I believe all up and down this way. And then they're having to walk across the crosswalk here and then into work. Not the biggest fan of that. We are creating a lot more traffic and hazard than really need to be. So with this ginormous area, I think it would be fun. I think we can, let's see if we can slap, we might have to go one lower. Ooh, we miss it by one heckin' tile, one square. Part of me just wants to like redo this real quick. We would have to move everything over by one. So you know what? That's not a big deal. We'll just do it this way. We'll put in, you know what? What's this? I don't know if that would look too good. The big old overground parking building, that would look a little bit out of place for this small town, I think. I mean, it's a bigger building than most of our downtown buildings, right? So that's not exactly ideal aesthetically for me. So tell you what, let's go ahead and hit I real quick so we can see a little bit better. Yep, hitting I gets rid of that information panel. And yeah, we will just slap this parking lot right on the corner here facing the building. Bada boom, bada bing. That's going to take up 135 spots out of the over 1,000 people that work here. So, you know, we might just get rid of High Lane real quick and have everyone come in down Wood Lane in through Lilac right there. So we can, yeah, you know what? We're going to go ahead and do that. Got a boom, boom, boom. Go into our thing, get a little alleyway action going here. Making things up as we go on the fly, and then yeah, you have that right over there. Like it, love it, gotta have it. Go in the parking, big parking lot, and we could, oh nuts, I didn't think about that one. It wasn't the alleyway that was in the way. Oh, interesting. You know what, let's actually take off snapping real quick, didn't think about that. We will spin this guy around, get it nice and straight here. I think we can just get this in there, maybe. Oh, it's gonna work, it's gonna work. Ready, ready. That's how we do that. Boom! All right, so we are butting right up against the cemetery, but you know what? That's okay. That's how we're doing. That's actually, if you look at the real Harvard, Illinois, this is kind of exactly how it is. It looks like the cemetery was there, and there just happened to be probably some really cheap land right next door to the cemetery. And this giant company, Farm and Fleet is the real one, but came in and just built a giant distribution center right next door to the cemetery. It's really kind of interesting placement. But anyway, so now we have a good 321 spots. So for our shifts, that will eat up a lot of the traffic that is parking on our residential streets and save everyone a big walk. They'll just have to walk across this little area here. Yeah, you can see everyone coming in for their shifts, having to, again, walk across this intersection there. So as the city grows, that intersection is going to continue to be more and more dangerous. So let's get people parking over there. So good stuff there. Got that all checked up on, liking that. So we got the stoplights taken care of. We got some parking good. Our buildings are not on fire anymore, which is always fantastic. Anything else we want to check up on? Let's check on our little towns over here. We have the town of Chemung. We got some upgrades going on in Chemung. That's always great to see. You know, speaking of the stoplights, I was thinking about this last episode. Let's go to our services, stoplights. And here we go. So like I was saying, in these small towns of Chemung and Capron and stuff like that, we really only have like these small little four-way intersection with all of our commercial there. And I was thinking it would be kind of funny if we just put, one stoplight there. I would think it'd be great if some modders could make the, from the movie Cars, how in the middle of the, Radiator Springs, there was the one blinking yellow light, right? And that's where the hippie car and the military vehicle, they would sit there and, the hippie car would sit there and go, I swear, man, every third blink it's slower. And that's kind of like what I picture this stoplight being in the middle of these teeny tiny towns with these only 2 or 3 or 4 commercial buildings in them. It's like you have one stoplight, and if we could have modders make the blinking yellow hanging stoplight like you see in the movie Cars, I think that'd be so funny to put in the middle there. So, but anyways, yeah, I just thought I'd put those in there. So hey, let's go ahead and start to really think about jumping into our time lapse here. Let's take an overhead look at what we're working with here. Like I said, we're going to surround this whole area with farms. Down here to the south, I did play around with this a little bit before recording. We are going to get rid of this little, not the whole lake, because unfortunately this whole lake down to the south does run outside of our borders, so there's not much we can really do about that, unfortunately. So we are going to kind of cut down this lake over here and get rid of this little, it's called a nub. Yep, this little nub guy. It's like someone holding up a number 1 sign, like, we're number 1! You're like, all right, yeah, well now you're going to be number knuckle. So yeah, we're going to get rid of this thing thing here, make a little knuckle sandwich on the side here, and I think we'll put a little community on this little lake down over here that leads out of there. But anyways, yeah, get us some more land, and we're going to put a heck load of farms. Before we do jump into the farms, I did want to kind of show my process of making farms. I did upload a picture on Reddit of kind of like my idea for the farming area and everything, as people seem to really latch onto that, say it looked really organic and everything. So I thought I'd come in here and just kind of show everyone before we jump into the time lapse of how I do my farms and everything. So let's go ahead and bada bang, there we go, slap it down. I'm gonna hit I here to get rid of that information panel. The first thing I do is I take off all of the snapping. The snapping kind of gets kind of weird when you get next to, roads, obviously, and kind of the circle area of your build area and everything. And just for what we're doing, it doesn't have to look exactly symmetrical and straight all the time. It's kind of okay to have some of those human error touches in there. So anyways, yeah, I leave one square. I go up to the one square, leave a square tile in between the road and our farm. And to get a bigger area, let's go ahead and stop off at about there. We're going to come down as much as we can, get a 90-degree snap angle up there. It's not going to snap because we have the snap off, but I see 90 degrees right there. Let's go ahead and build right there. Bring all the way over. And again, we're just going to one tile away. Try and get 90 degrees here. What is that, about right there? Let's call it right there. So we're going to be one little nook away, one little tile away. Bring it back up here. Boom. Boom. Bring it back to our farm and go ahead and complete it. So now we have a pretty symmetrical rectangle there. And again, leaving this separation on the side of your road and in between farms as well. So if we came down here and, built another farm in between real quick, I know there's no road or anything connected, but just for the sake of, doing it real quick, keep a little bit of separation between your farms as well, so that you kind of get this, real quick, but you get these vegetation lines in between the road and the different farms and everything like that. It starts to look really cool and really natural when you get all these farms. Here, I'll show you my little example area. But yeah, once you get all these little separation between your roads, your farms and everything, and then you get the trees start to grow into their full potential and everything, it looks really nice. I think with the in between the farms, kind of separates it out a little bit. So that is kind of my quick overview of how I do farms. So if you're looking to recreate that Midwest, what did I call it? The Iowa Simulator. I call it Iowa Simulator 2023. By the time you're done with this method, it looks really cool. It looks just like Iowa, basically. So, but yeah, that is my quick tutorial on that. But hey, without too much flabbing, jabbing my jaw there, let's go ahead and jump into a tutorial. And yeah, we'll start to build out our farmland and all these small communities. So yeah, we'll see you on the other side of the tutorial, or the time lapse there. Welcome on into the time lapse, and yeah, as you can see, we are going right for the thumbs up. I think I decided it's more, looking back at it, it's more of a thumbs up lake right now, or it was. We just turned it into the knuckle, but yeah, we're going right down to the lakeside there. Got some inspiration right away to go ahead and build this little town around a lake. Haven't really done that yet in Cities 2, and I thought it was going to turn out pretty cool with a little, like I said, rounded lakeside downtown area. So that's kind of what we're starting to flatten out here, is kind of get the idea of where our small little farming community with the lake here is gonna kind of form. So yeah, I wanted to get the like I said, a big I think it's a 4-lane that we end up going with, 4-lane road that goes from kind of, like I said, just around the lakeside here, and kind of has a nice little downtown and everything. So yeah, we start to build out the grid here. I think we go for 100 by 100. I really like that for a small town, the 100 by 100 meters grid size and everything. So yeah, I found that works best for me. You can sometimes sneak in a little alleyway behind there and split it into two, and it looks really good. Yeah, so I usually go with a 100 by 100 grid size and everything. So yeah, we start with this little curvy road going in. Ended up getting rid of this, I think, in the next just little bit here. End up not liking that. Yep, there it is right there. Decided it's too many curves to be an American town there. So not totally against making curves or anything like that. It just wasn't looking quite like I wanted it to there. So yeah, we go with this just main highway road, National Highway Road, coming from Harvard straight down south towards this lake here, and running into what becomes Davis Junction. That is the name I went ahead and stole from, again, the Midwest area that I'm from. All these names are from mainly Winnebago, Boone, and Lee County in northern Illinois. So if you want to see where these town names are coming from, that is, and compare them to the real thing, I'm not basing any town off the real thing except for Harvard, but you can see what they actually look like on Google Maps and everything. But anyways, yeah, this is Davis Junction, and as you saw, wanted to keep the waterfront a little bit open, and that is to put in this pathway that goes all the way around it. And yeah, originally start to build bridges over top of it, pedestrian bridges. I think I end up getting rid of this, maybe not on camera, but off camera, decided it's a little bit too built up for what's, again, supposed to be a small farming community with maybe, I haven't clicked on the town yet to see, but maybe 300 to 400 people living in it overall. But so yeah, I ended up going and editing a lot of this back, and again, pulling it back, restraining myself a little bit from this original content here. But yeah, just go ahead and making, again, this really small farm town. And after this, we're going to, like I said, be jumping into all of the farming, basically. It's just going to be all farming all day. And yeah, we're going to be using, I don't think I mentioned this in the real time, but we're going to be using the livestock farming. Because if you read on the livestock description for the specialized farming, you can use the livestock anywhere in-game. Unlike the other crops that need the fertile land, the livestock you can build anywhere, and it'll go ahead and produce, your chickens and all your other livestock and everything like that. So that's pretty neat that you can go ahead and do that and still have working farms, because again, you can place down the carrots and the cotton and the grains and all that. You can place those anywhere on the map. That doesn't have to just be a fertile area, but they won't work. They'll still aesthetically pop up and have, like, again, visually it'll still kind of look good, but it won't produce anything, which is kind of a bummer. But again, with the livestock, you can produce that to your heart's content and have all the surplus in the world and sell all the meat to the entire region and make us a little bit of cash that way. So as we get into our farm building, you may have seen me struggling a little bit with this patch of water that keeps just, it is a bugger. I had to go back and re-record to get to this part of the episode where we're actually building farms. I had to re-record it maybe 4 or 5 times, redoing the town of Davis Junction and all this, just because that little pocket of water, when you try and smooth it out, it like bubbles it to the top somehow. It's like it's a water placement mode, like in the first Cities Skylines, where you could just have water constantly bubbling out of it. So anyways, I eventually had to, to make this episode work, I had to make a lake. I didn't want a lake there. As you can see off to the left-hand side of this footage, there's just a little lake, because again, this is like my, fourth or fifth time trying to get this to work, and every time I had raised the land or anything like that, I made like an entire literal mountain on like my third or fourth attempt, because I was getting so sick of doing it. And yeah, it still would just, you hit play, hit fast forward. I'd go into the dev tool and go to ×8 speed to get it really going quick in the simulation speed. And yeah, it would just always start erupting water everywhere. So I don't know if there's a fix for that, or if I'm just doing something kind of wacky wrong there. But yeah, eventually I did get it to work off camera. I did end up finagling with it enough to where I think I raised the land in pause mode and then went and built something over top of it real quick, and that like suppressed the water for the most part. But there's still, like, if you zoom down to the road level, you can kind of see some, like, there's like a foot or two of water. So sorry, farmers out there, you just kind of have to deal with hanging out with some water there. So but yeah, anyways, as we're progressing through, you saw we added a radio tower, added that out into the middle of the fields there. You see that, oh my gosh, all the time. There's always radio towers out there. I know our local TV stations, they're out in the middle of nowhere, like our, Channel 3 and Channel 5 kind of thing, local radio, or TV stations with the local news and everything. Those are all out in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, I really like the aspect of putting these radio towers out in the middle of nowhere, and then also starting to dot little bits of actual industry throughout the farm area. So it doesn't always work all the time, but if you do just zone small pockets, and I'm talking like 2x2s or maybe, a 3x5, just really small individual by themselves off the roadway industry, they will kind of adapt and take over the specialized industry that you have made around there. So since we have a boatload of farms, if I start to, again, zone very small areas of industry near the farm areas, and especially around the cargo train station, you will see like granaries and maybe some other small farm buildings and just kind of like, similar type buildings for that specialized industry. There's also wood ones. You'll get like wood piles start to pile up. I haven't messed around with anything ore or rock or any of the oil yet, but I'm sure that's the same similar aspect there. So that's pretty cool. If you haven't done that yet, start to zone small little pockets of industry near your specialized industry. Again, it doesn't always work. You'll have to sit there and kind of do the delete method, or if you just want to bypass it, you can go into the development tools, hit the home button, and plop down a specialized industry like that and everything. So speaking of, we have a little pocket here of sawmills and lumber industry. I had a really big pocket of trees that were just naturally there. Kind of thought it was a fun idea I was thinking at the time, here we go back to messing with this darn hole that we just make a lake. But anyways, I thought it'd be kind of neat to break up the farmland a little bit with some trees and lumber. Don't get used to that. That's another thing that later on back in the episode, now that I'm talking out loud, I kind of went back and deleted a lot of things after the time lapse and everything. But anyways, I digress. I ended up getting rid of that because it broke up the farmland just a little bit too much, and it didn't get that vast amount of farm feel that I was really looking for. So I ended up going ahead, getting rid of that, getting rid of all the trees, and we put up a parking lot. No, we did. We put up a farmland. So a lot more farmland to replace all that, the trees and everything like that. So like I said, we're going back through here, through Davis Junction, decided on a different main thoroughfare through Harvard. Went ahead and just moved it off to the right hand side. Ended up looking kind of in our future plans, kind of what I'm thinking for the next few episodes when we expand our infrastructure out towards our big main new city. Wanted a big national road that maybe turns into an avenue in the big main city, but a big national road that connects all the way from Davis Junction, our southernmost city, through up into our big main city, and then even extends all the way to north. So it's a south to north or north to south national road that goes through all the towns and everything. So just moved it over a little bit to go ahead and plan for the future and everything. So as we're going ahead and pretty much the rest of the episode is expanding out farms, as you've been you see here, and then we're going to go ahead and build a few more small farm towns as well. I think there's another 2 or 3. Again, extremely small. I think they have populations. One of them, King's Cross, I think it has maybe 75 people in it. And then I can't remember what the name of the other town is that I do. We'll see here in just a little while, but that one has maybe a population of 200. Actually, I think I remember. I think it's Mount Morris is what I go for. But anyways, while we're building around there and doing other bits and bobs here, I'll talk about the what we're doing in the time lapse every so often. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to look over a few bullet points that I made about kind of the history and significance of basically these towns, these small towns, small farm towns and everything that maybe not many people know about. They have a lot of historical significance as agricultural hubs for a lot of these farmers out there. So, again, a lot of these farmers, they're hour, 2 hours, sometimes more away from a big city with, a lot of supplies, your local Walmart. No, there's not like a Walmart out in the middle of the cornfields or anything like that. So, a lot of these smaller farm towns historically have just kind of been that hub where farmers can go and maybe if they need a part for their tractors or anything on the farm, instead of having to drive 3 hours away, they can go to this small town that's maybe 10, 15 minutes down the road. Same thing with supplies for their feed, supporting their family and everything. So that is, they're really significant as far as that goes. And as far as bringing their crops and their finished product to these towns, again, instead of having to drive to Chicago or Rockford or, to St. Louis or something like that, they can go to these smaller towns as kind of a hub for for all their crops, drop them off there, and then maybe they're close to either a highway junction. Typically, it was a cargo train yard. Drop all their supplies off there, then they could go to the bigger Chicago hubs and then be sold internationally eventually. So that was the big thing, big link to cities and everything. And then from there, they became really big economic and cultural centers. Just naturally, people, especially around crop time, especially right now, we're kind of having a late season for crops we've noticed around here because of the weather's been kind of weird, but you notice it during the crop time when it's ready to pull all the crops or sow everything. These towns just become bustling madhouses. There's just literal giant tractors driving down Main Street with a load of corn or anything. The air, you think it's snowing out because there's just random bits of either cotton or corn husks just blowing in the in the air and everything. So it is a really big bustling time, and it brings a lot more economic opportunities for these towns during crop time and everything. So like I said, they're big economic centers and also big community centers. You get a lot of these. You hear about these community fairs that we have, big county fairs. That's not just for let's go ride the rides or anything like that. That's also farmers. They sell all their crops there, or they have opportunities to make business deals and stuff like that. So, these small towns aren't just kind of randomly placed there. There is a significance for them historically and even today. It's just kind of interesting. Little bit of history for them, and today they don't play the same significance and same role as they did, especially from the late to early 20th century. That was kind of their big bustling time where you had a lot of family farms, people, giant families of, 5 to 10 people in one family living on one farm and doing all the same farm work. But, that's not the case today. A lot of these farms are industrialized and, sold out to big industries, whether they're, American companies or international companies and stuff like that. And again, a lot of these families also moved to cities in the late or early. I can talk today. Early 20th century, they moved to cities instead of doing farming because there was just so much better opportunity in these new, economic powerhouses, which are these giant cities that started to really play a big role in not just the Midwest, but all over the United States and everything. So, there was a lot of flight from these small towns that, they used to maybe rely on double or even triple the population. But, that's gone away significantly. But, today you do still have these towns around. They are still, if anything, a lot of them are starting to flourish and rebound significantly from kind of I'd say a weird probably 40, 50 years of trying to find their footing. But now you're seeing today, there's a lot of importance on agro-tourism. That's a word. Holy cow. Which is really bringing a lot of economic revival, especially the younger generation, like millennials, like my generation and Gen Z, we're all into organic foods and, kind of growing your own thing. You see in cities all the time, you look at people growing things on their porches or everything like that. Wherever they can, you're getting people growing their foods and everything. And that was really kicked off, by the rural communities, kind of shining a spotlight on the importance of, just kind of growing your own food, knowing where your food is coming from. And these towns have really leaned into it as far as, again, the tourism aspect, giving tours of their farms, showing how everything is done, doing workshops, showing, them city folk how you grow everything. You can take that back to the city and kind of apply it there and everything. So it's been a kind of cool, and you can see it in my own job. Like I've mentioned before, I'm a delivery driver to a lot of these small towns. I get to see them on a weekly basis, and I've been seeing them for the last few years. You can see the rebound, not just from COVID, but just from overall. There's a lot of new opportunities coming to these small areas, again, with max population of 200 or 300 people, and it's really cool to see. It's definitely really cool to see. So, but in our time-lapse footage, as I've been jabbing on there, I think we did add at least one new town. I think that was King's Cross. Also added some more suburbs, so there's more of a separation, a clear-cut separation between Harvard and the farmland. So added a few more suburbs to kind of just flesh out the outskirts of Harvard and everything. building, and I think that's looking really, really good. I like when I get to break away from the grid system a little bit and start to do some of those, American suburbs that you just see, those windy, turny kind of suburbs where you're just like, oh, now we're in a rich area of town because where there's curves. So there's curves, there's a sidewalk, there's grass, and there's trees. Boom. Rich area of town. So it's always fun to just kind of get off the grid system a little bit, break away from the gridlock and everything, and do that. So, but yeah, next town that we're building is Mount Morris, and that one is a little bit bigger of a town there than King's Cross. And yeah, no, that's going to start to really wrap up our time-lapse footage. Got 3 new towns in. Definitely Davis Junction is the big new town, and it's not even that big. Again, I think it's like a max population of like 700 people, has a nice little historic downtown, those mixed-use buildings. If you can do small little mixed-use buildings, usually long, like what is it, like maybe 3 or 4 up by 2 or 3 across, you can get some really nice scaled buildings for like a small Midwest downtown kind of area. And then again, we got King's Cross and Mount Morris that kind of round out the areas to just kind of supply all these farmers with whatever they may need. As we just learned from all the bullet points there, they might need some crops and everything, or some supplies. Now they don't have to drive all the way into either Harvard or the eventual big city. They can just go ahead and go to King's, Mount Morris, or Davis Junction there and get all their needs and everything. So hey, let's go ahead and we'll jump into one last real time there, and just kind of wrap up the episode taking a look at everything in real time and a nice little cinematic, and then we'll send y'all on your way. All right, everyone. Hey, welcome on into downtown King's Cross here. Not too much going on in King's Cross today. Never really is when there's only about 100 or so people here. Kind of glossed over it in the time lapse, but I was definitely in King's Cross experimenting with the, let's see if we hit this button. If we hit this button, I was experimenting with our surface tools and prop tools a whole lot here. So as you can see, a lot of the surface tools here are from just over here. So we have our our pavement surface, our sand surface over here. I think this is the ore as well. Then I also went into some different props and started placing those down. I just wanted to say that I'm not going to do that across this map entirely. I'm still a little bit weary of the dev tool and everything. Just I'm not sure if it's going to, when mod tools officially come out and everything, how that's going to interact with everything. So this is just a little bit of an experiment just to see how that works, but I'm not really planning on doing that too much. Maybe the surface tools, I feel like those are more reliable than anything, but yeah, so just wanted to explain that I was just kind of messing around, having a little bit of fun with that in King's Cross. But yeah, here's our little town of King's Cross, one of the few towns in our area, and it's again completely surrounded by farmland everywhere you see. Just over here are the suburbs of Harvard. As you come down here, you can kind of see a little bit of downtown Harvard from over here, which is pretty cool there. I like that. If you go down a few miles, like 2 or 3 miles, here's the town of Mount Morris. Mount Morris is pretty significant for the area with its medical center. So we have to have at least one medical center to kind of service all these towns. Maybe might have to put in an elementary school as well. For this game, at least, it is difficult to send out buses. I don't think there's even school buses in this game. Hopefully there can be, again, a mod for that eventually to expand our area for our schools to reach, because realistically this small town would probably go into Harvard and use the Harvard high school and pretty much everything, elementary school and everything like that. They would have a bus that would come way out here in the countryside and everything. So there is that. Here's our town of, this is not Davis Junction. I kept saying the wrong name. This is actually Leaf River. So yeah, this is Leaf River here. Not a river, it's a lake, but you know what? There it is. So yeah, here's our big town, big suburb of Harvard of Leaf River. And yeah, just outside of it, wanted to point these out. Here are some of those industry buildings that I was talking about, where these are individually again, zoned industry buildings that kind of just took on the role of being a agriculture building. So if you click on these, you'll see that these are storage units for livestock, stores livestock as well. This building doesn't have anything to do with our livestock or anything like that. You see they take petrochemicals that makes textiles, but if you do click on some of these other buildings that don't look like agriculture buildings necessarily, you will see that, like this one doesn't, at first glance it might not look like it, but this takes vegetable vegetables and makes vegetable juice there. So some of these buildings, even if they don't look like it, they still are in the same theme and everything. So yeah, here's a quick little downtown view of Leaf River. Wanted some empty kind of spaces amongst the downtown, because again, like we were talking about in the time lapse, some of these towns have come on hard times over the last few years at the early 19th century, or I'm sorry, late 19th century, early 20th century. I kept mixing that up in the time-lapse footage as well. So I wanted to come across as these empty kind of lots every so often. But yeah, I like the historic building look of it and the nice little waterfront pathway that you get as well. And then what I didn't get on camera, I did this entire west side of the train track and made a whole new town and everything. Didn't record any of this accidentally. Was just kind of planning on doing some more farmland, but did realize that we had our cargo train station over this way. And I was like, you know what? That would probably be an area that a town, a little suburb of some sort would pop up. You'd have a lot of jobs with this cargo train station. You know, there'd be a lot of industry that would pop up around here, as far as like storage areas like we were talking about again in the time lapse, where farmers would want to bring their crops and livestock and everything and store it around the cargo train station area. So it was like, you know what, now there it is, let's do Davis Junction here. So very, very small town of Davis Junction, you know, little, again, historic downtown area. Honestly, a lot of these buildings are way too big for my liking. I like these row houses that developed. These are just the row house residential developments, but these the mixed use ones here are a little bit too big. And honestly, to fix that, what I've been doing is, are these just 2x2s? They are just 2x2s, but we're going to go ahead and select our marquee tool, and we're going to reduce these down like that and like that. And same thing over here. Just make these a little bit, you know what, that's already a 2x2 and it's that big. Oh, it would be cool. Maybe eventually if we can get some of those smaller buildings and everything. So we'll see how that develops. We'll have to keep messing and playing around with that and everything. So, but yeah, that is the town of Davis Junction. And before we kind of shoot out of here to some cinematics, I'll click on each of these small towns, get a overall, see where our population is coming from, right? We have approaching 10,000 people in this giant county. I suppose we have probably more cows at this point than people, but yeah, from left to right, we have, actually let's start way up here. All right, we'll start up here and then we'll save the rest for last. All right, Capron, we have 448 residents in Capron. Chemung has 800 people in it right there. Davis Junction, comprised of 172 people in Davis Junction. Leaf River, 1,119 people. There you go. There's our probably second biggest community out of all of them, except for Harvard. Mount Morris, very small strip of street here, has 249, and I'm sure what's going to be rounding out everything else is King's Cross, yep, at 108. So 108 in King's Cross, and what was Davis Junction? 174, just beat it out there. And then last but not least, Harvard is going to encompass 6,831 out of the, again, nearly 10,000 people in this community. So Harvard right now, again, the big economic powerhouse for all of our other small communities to kind of feed into and everything. But that won't be the case for long as we move into our next few episodes, because yeah, we are expanding very rapidly towards, oh my gosh, it's a river delta. I need to, I'll fix it. Don't worry. I don't know what, I can't do water in this game apparently. I make things too low, I guess. I don't know, but I'll fix that. But anyways, yeah, we got to move this way towards our downtown area and everything. That's my general idea, is we're going to expand this way and make our downtown, our big town at least, kind of encompass this lakeside and a little bit of the riverside and everything. So yeah, that's what we're going to be kind of moving towards in the next few episodes there. So hey, thanks so much everyone for hanging out for this another episode of Rockridge County. Been really having a ton of fun expanding out all this county and these small towns and the farmland and everything, and really excited to see where this kind of goes from here, and see what we can do with the rest of this map and the rest of this county and everything. So hey, really appreciated all of your comments in the last video. So if you have made it this far, don't forget to make some great suggestions there. We had some suggestions for a regional airport. I think someone suggested like a racetrack maybe. I saw some other inspiration for like golf courses and stuff. So there's a whole bunch of fun, cool ideas that we can put into this county in different cities and everything like that. So if you have some ideas, love to hear them. We'll probably most likely implement them and everything. So yeah, would love to hear from you and everything. So hey, thanks so much everyone for hanging out. Always do appreciate it. If this is your first time hanging out, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We'll have more videos of Cities Skylines 2 coming up all the time and everything. And yeah, don't forget to hit the like button as well. Hey, thanks so much everyone. We'll see you next time.